You are listening to the Foamy Heads Podcast, where we discuss craft beer and anything else that accompanies a glass.
Foamy Heads are back hanging out in Chattanooga, Tennessee today. It's only a couple-hour drive for us, Mitch. It wasn't bad at all, but weather looks like it's kind of working with us a little bit today. Was a little bit rainy, at least in our area yesterday. Looks like we kind of got the same over here, but a couple hours drive, 2 hours at the most. It wasn't bad. Chattanooga is a great place to be anyway, Mitch.
Oh, yeah.
You've got family in here, too.
Yep, they all relocated from Nashville down to Chattanooga.
Yeah. It's great, and it seems to be growing every time we come back. I seem to be getting up here probably once a year, at least, maybe a little bit more frequent than that. But Chattanooga has that small town feel for me, but it actually seems to be expanding. Like downtown area, you can park somewhere and walk pretty much anywhere you want. That's not something you get in like Atlanta or in places of Nashville and things like that. Knoxville. Another great city as well. But this is awesome. We're hanging out at Tanasi Brewing and Supplies here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We've got Clinton Sallee here with us. How you doing, man?
Very well. How are you guys?
Good, man. Thanks for having us on today.
Of course, love having you here.
Owner, former head brewer from multiple locations.
Still head brewer here.
Still head brewer here too.
one man band. I run the bar, brew the beer, pay the taxes. Had to be Renaissance. Been running it for about 2.5 years that way.
That's awesome.
Wow.
No employees yet?
Not yet. No, I'm looking. I've got some guys that help me out here and there, but I'm looking to bring on some employees for beer tending and working behind the bar for us and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I like the spot, old school like gas station feel.
From what I've been told, it was 1963. It was a Mapco, and which works for me and against me. It's got the nostalgia, but the downside is almost on a daily basis, even 2.5 years later, I still get people coming in here going, "Oh, I didn't know you were an actual brewery, or I didn't know you made beer. We thought you were just a quickie mart." So people come in here looking for like cigarettes and.
I mean, it literally says beer, home brewing supplies, kits on the windows, like right in front of you when you walk in.
It says tap room, brewery, homebrew supplies, dog park, everything in huge 14-inch letters. And I have a mural of a Native American 9 foot tall pointing at the front door. You cannot miss me. But I still, even to this day, get people coming in here saying the same thing. But
goodness,
it's kind of amusing at this point.
Looking for monster drinks and cigarettes.
I'm surprised we have things that are better than that here. So
people are leaving because there's only two ways out of town, really, if you're living in Harrison or Red Bank or whatever. So you can either leave this direction and head across the water, or you can go out the North Shore side. So everybody gets out of work and they're like frustrated with their jobs, and they'll fly by here and try to stop it. Hey, I just want a 6-pack of PBR kind of thing. And then on the way home,
you got something better for them, though.
I do. I have something much better.
You've got 10 of them on tap, and we're going to be getting into those in just a moment.
Awesome.
It's like we don't have those kind of 6-packs, but we do have these 6-packs over here.
Yeah, if you want some of those. Home brewing supply store also.
Yes, sir.
So that
one of 3 in the state.
In the state.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Brewery and home brewing supplies in the state, or are you just talking about one
homebrew
of 3?
Supply, yeah. Oh yeah, there's way more breweries, but there's only 3 that I know of homebrew supply stores in the state. There's Knoxville, me, and Nashville, I believe.
Okay.
I know Craft Brewed used to supply, but
Craft Brewed used to have homebrew supplies, but they don't do it anymore.
Yeah, they cut that out, made it just a dining area.
And there was a guy in North Georgia, but from what I've been told, I haven't been down there in a while, but from what I've been told, he is refocusing on the cans and bottle sales.
Oh,
because he has a phenomenal selection for that. But he had like kind of homebrews in the back. You can go get grains here and there. But someone told me that he's kind of phasing away from that.
Interesting.
For whatever reason. So
well, you've got homebrewing. I mean, that's kind of your background a little bit growing up,
right?
And things like that. So that's probably playing into some of this as well, or is it just were you just looking for another revenue stream besides just a brewery?
Oh, I love talking about making beer. I have guys come in here and I make recipes for them. They'll come in here and like, hey, I've never brewed before. I really want to start doing this. I will set them up with starter kits. I will design recipes for them, print them out, walk them through the process, everything. I got how to brew books for them to do homework.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, it's my passion. I love talking about beer. I love making it, drinking it, thinking about it, everything. It is my life.
It is a good melting pot of all of those things combined, home brewing and a brewery in one spot.
Yeah.
And being able to educate people, help people, and then also if they don't have the time and they don't want to do it, we've got plenty of it here that they can just consume on site. So it's full 360.
And like we're really going to start ramping up in January because everybody does that stinking dry January stuff.
Oh man!
And so I'm going to really be pushing on social media. Well, if you don't want to drink in January, it's time to start brewing. So you have stuff. So you have stuff to drink in February.
Yeah.
Nice.
January is not a good month for breweries, and
Never thought about that.
yeah,
I've heard of sober October, but
yeah, that's a new one.
And then there's someone in our beer group chat from Nashville. They did a sober November.
Yeah.
So I guess that just rolls off the tongue on those months, I guess, and some people just opt to do it.
Those need to go away, in my opinion.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's my thought is like, if you need someone to tell you to stop drinking, you might have bigger issues.
Than just beer.
Here's an idea: just drink in moderation and hang out with your buddies. You don't have to get plastered every time you pick up a beer.
Yeah, I don't know what dedicating a month and then just going right back into binging does for you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like
Hurts businesses. That's basically all it does.
It's like eating kale salads for a month and then going back to Taco Bell.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm definitely one of those rule breakers myself. When I try to go on a diet, I'm like, I succeeded all 5 days. This weekend, pizza.
That sounds really good, actually.
Yeah.
Well, the plan today is not to get too plastered, but
we'll be good.
Clinton brought in 10 beers for us to start sampling today, so we're gonna split these. But let's jump into the first one then. So the first one, tell us a little bit about it, Clinton. This is the Watermelon Crawl.
Yes, sir. So it's named after the country song. All the country fans out there. It actually won a silver medal in the U.S. Open last month. So it is the second best watermelon seltzer in the country right now.
Oh my God.
I sell about 15 to 20 gallons of that a week. So I distribute to a couple bars and restaurants here around town.
Oh, my wife would love this too.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. This is really tasty, but my wife would love it too.
This does not have a 5.1 to it, does it? This is
it is 5.1. It will smack you when you when you stand up if you do too many of them. But I've
go for it.
Oh, we got it handled. It's all right.
All right.
I'm gonna go ahead and unplug that, I think. So anyway, so it has just the right amount of carbonation, so it doesn't blow your belly, but it's also not flat.
Mm-hmm.
And I also did not want it to have the aluminum foil taste that some of those come across with. A lot of them just have this, like they funneled through an aluminum foil funnel.
That's true.
It has a very natural. I use a very high grade watermelon juice for that concentrate to make it taste very natural. Wow.
You're right. And talking about the carbonation piece, like a lot of those seltzers that you have are either. This actually reminds me of some of the seltzers that we had at Big Trouble.
Oh yeah,
in Gallatin. So a lot of the seltzers that we have that you experience today, they taste like seltzer water, right? They've got a little bit of that flavor, but none of the sweetness to it, none of the sugary flavor. But so you drink it, and then when you think you're about to experience a full flavor, it just disappears on you. This is really good in a sense that it's got that sugary sweetness to it as well, but it's not too overly carbonated. So you could smash this thing back really quick if you're not careful.
Because I wanted to cater to. I don't want to exclude anybody. So when people come in here and one of you guys loves beer, one of you guys hates beer, or you're gluten intolerant or a dietary or whatever it is, I don't want someone to feel like they just have to sit here and drink Sprite and Coke Zeros. So we I created this one, so I give people options. Like I carry cider cans and I carry kombuchas and stuff like that because I want everybody to have fun.
Yeah,
I want everybody to come in here, and I want this to feel like cheers. Everybody's welcome. Everybody's, your friends right off the bat. There's no pretension, no arrogance, and just come in here and have fun.
So that was the plan. I mean, like seltzer wasn't an initial part of your thought because you enjoyed drinking seltzers all the time, but this is more of a catered to everybody kind of thing.
Well, I learned very early in my career that when you go from being a home brewer to a professional brewer, you go from brewing what you want. You brew for the far side of the bar, not the near side of the bar, or you won't have a bar.
That's a good point.
So meaning, yes, I have the beers that I particularly like to drink, but I also know as a business owner and as as a brewer myself, like in being on both sides of bar at this point, you have to cater to everybody.
Yeah.
You have to literally like think about everybody that walks in here and do everything you can to give them something to consume or to enjoy.
You're not the one keeping your business afloat. It's the people with the wallets that are
Very
keeping
true.
your business afloat.
That's very true.
Got to
Because
cater to
yeah,
them.
because if I only did the 3 or 4 beers that I like, I'd go out of business really quick.
True.
What is your style of beers that you really like?
I love German traditional.
Yeah.
That is my wheelhouse. I love beers that taste like you took warm water and just shoved a loaf of bread in it. That is my stuff. Dortmunders, Dunkelweisens,
Oh yeah.
Maybachs. Like I love those kind of beers. Chattanooga is a very heavy IPA and sour town. So I get at least 6 or 7 humans every week that come in and ask me what kind of IPAs, what kind of sours we got.
Yeah.
And I do love German sours. My mentor taught me how to do Gozas and Berliners properly with grain selection, water treatments, everything. So I do love Gozas. They are a difficult, very intricate brew. You have to pay very particular attention to them because they can go wayward really quick.
Yeah.
But I do love Gozas. I love Gozas and Berliners.
I'm looking to see if there's one of those on the list today.
I got one on the cooler if you guys want.
Once we run through these 10, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind trying it.
I told you I got about 6 or 8 more beers in the cooler that aren't even on tap right now.
Oh my gosh.
I see the rosemary saison. That sounds really good too.
That one, I just did a blueberry white stout. My protege over here in the picture, we brewed together in Florida, and he now is an assistant brewer in Portland, Maine. And he said, I've always wanted to do a white stout. I've never been able to get it and do it. And he came down to visit us like a month ago. So I designed a recipe, and Maine is known for blueberries and seafood. And I wasn't planning on doing a seafood beer. So we ended up, yeah, I didn't think that would go too well.
Seafood.
So
Doesn't sound great, I got to be honest.
So I took blueberries, a real high grade blueberry juice, put it on simmer, reduced it by 50%, and put mulling spices in it, and then added that straight to the white stout. So when you look at it, it's a straw yellow color, kind of a dark straw yellow. And if you close your eyes, you get the roasty notes of a stout, but then there's a finish of a blueberry in the back right after it exits your mouth.
I could try
It's
that.
phenomenal.
That sounds really
It came out
good.
so well.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, my boy Dakota and I came out and brewed it. He came down, we brewed it a few months ago or a month ago, and it came out so well. I'm very happy with it.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's jump to the next one.
So that
Harvest
is
Moon.
Harvest Moon. That is a Kentucky common. It is one of the very few indigenous North American beers. It was first brewed in Lexington, Kentucky in the late 1800s. There is a California version that is more citrus forward.
That's what I'm used to hearing is the California Commons.
Right.
Yeah.
The California common. What that means is we use lager yeast
Okay.
or we ferment at ale temperatures.
Oh.
So we get the smoothness of the lager and you get the body of an ale.
Mm-hmm.
The California version is very citrus forward, orange peel, grapefruit, blah, blah. The Kentucky version, we actually use flake corn in it instead. So you get more of a cream corn sweetness.
Does that
to it.
taste come through on the beer?
I believe so. You'll see when you drink it.
Ooh, the nose is interesting too.
Creamy.
That one actually just won a silver medal also in the Denver International Beer Comp.
This is tasty. This is easy. This is
Congrats
easy
on
to
that.
drink. Yeah.
That's awesome.
This is really good. Kind of a maybe this is me. I don't know if my palate's off. I feel like when you have like when you almost have like a Belgian-y style beer, you kind of got that yeasty. I don't want to say quite banana flavor, but it's almost like a yeasty bready flavor.
You're probably picking up on that flake corn.
Okay.
Before you leave, I'll show you the grain the corn I actually use from it.
Okay.
And when I'm trying to teach people, like what we do is we'll make like what I call a tea. We'll put warm water in a glass and you add a grain to it and let it soak, and then you taste that tea, and that way you'll know exactly what that flavor will impart in the beer.
See, that's what I like
smart.
about those ingredients, especially like me personally, I'm not a fan of like smash style beers where things are like single malt and single hop. But I do enjoy when like if I'm having an IPA and they do like a single hopped IPA where you have just one hop in it, that helps me understand what that hop's supposed to taste like.
And that's what's great about smashes. I totally endorse, especially in the beginning of your career, I endorse, and when you're trying to learn what your palate is. So if you drink a beer that has 6 hops in it and 7 grains,
I don't know what I'm drinking. Like I don't know what each of the flavor profiles are supposed to be.
But if you do, and I tell people, do a 10-gallon batch, split it into 5 2-gallon batches, and do this one with this hop, this one with this hop, this one with this hop, and size them up and figure out what you really like, because it'll save you from making a bad order next time you go to your favorite brewery.
That makes sense.
You know, and that's the same reason why I put IBUs on my board, because if you're either a hop head or you
I love that, by the way.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
Whether you're a hop head or you hate hops, it's going to help you make a better decision, because the last thing I know for a fact that my beers, you're not going to like every one of my beers. I don't expect you to. That's naive for me to think that you're going to come in here and love every 85 beers that I make.
Right.
So if you did, it make life a lot easier for me, for sure.
Yes.
But I also want someone to enjoy themselves, and I want them to come in and order something that they're going to like. And if they hate hops, I tell them to stay away from the high IBUs. If you love hops, go tour them, you know? So it just helps you make a better decision.
In having 7 hops and 4 grains and all this different stuff, I don't like, me personally. So I think I probably echo most people here when I say Citra is probably one of my favorite hops. It's also one of the most expensive hops to use. But
Citra is a very, very, very popular.
It's very popular.
My favorite is Huel Melon. It imparts a strawberry and cantaloupe note.
Whoa.
It is in the hazy IP that we'll get to, the last beer. Most hazies, not to like jump ahead here, but most hazies do the Citra, the Centennial, the Cascade. I use a different hop because I want to impart a different note. We'll get to that one in 9 more beers.
I want definitely 9 more beers. Yeah, it's if we're able to see, we'll post this picture up on our social media. But having 10 beers just lined up one after another, this is the trench to go through. We're on 3.
Yeah.
Jumping onto the third one.
Okay.
So this is
three hops in a cot.
3 hops in a cot.
So you would have to have been in the military or in jail to understand where that one came from.
Neither one of us on this side of the table have been in either of those places. So at least I have not. I don't know if Mitch has been in jail.
No.
Well, I was in the army. I was in the army for 4 years, so that's where I picked it up.
Yeah.
So back in the olden days, they said you join the military, you can guarantee you get 3 hots in a cot. So the Uncle Sam's going to pay for where he's going to feed you, and he's going to give you a place to stay.
3 hot. In other words, like 3 meals, right? 3 meals a day.
3 meals
and a place to sleep.
Stay. Yep.
Nice.
So
3 hops
there's
in a
actually
cot.
3 hops in this beer.
Okay.
And it is a Cot Booster. Cot Booster was a very popular beer before Reinheitsgebot, aka the German purity law. So when that was implemented, it said that no beers were allowed to be made that did not use just hops,
Those 4
grain,
ingredients,
water,
right?
and yeast. No fruits, no vegetables, no nothing. And it was done to protect the public, which I completely understand, because brewers were just throwing big wads of grass from their backyard into it. They were just trying to do everything they could. So it was a way, kind of like basically it was the first FDA kind of thing. So when Reinheitsgebot really came into play, that beer kind of disappeared.
Interesting.
And as far as I know, there's only 3 breweries that I've done in my research that are doing it right now in the country. So it is a very, very rare beer. And I get people questioning every day, where did this come from? I've never seen this before.
Well, it's a good play on words. 3 hops in a cot. And what were the 3 hops that are in it?
I'd have to actually look at the recipes. I don't want to make a fool of myself and say the wrong thing.
Don't do it then.
Yeah, I will look it up and get that answer before you guys leave. I do so many of them. That's why I write everything down, because I'm getting old and I forget things.
Yeah.
This is not as, and maybe it's just the fact that it says. Maybe it's just the fact that I know it has 3 hops in it, and I was expecting it to be hoppier, but maybe that's not necessarily the case. But I guess for only 27 IBUs, it's really not that hot. But this is pleasant to drink. It's smooth, and it's got a little bit of a, I don't want to say sour, but kind of a tart finish.
It's the molasses. So it is a granddaddy German wheat beer made with molasses and honey.
Whoa.
I use sourwood honey, super high grade honey. One of my best friends here in town owns an axe throwing joint called Valkyrie Axe, and he is a mead maker, and he gave me some really high grade sourwood honey. So I use that, and then we use some top grade molasses. So that molasses is imparting, and I did not use blackstrap, because blackstrap is very smoky, very woody, kind of like if you're familiar with moonshine and spirits, it's the tails version of molasses. So it's kind of got like it's a really smoky note. I'm not a fan of blackstrap, so I use middle body molasses. The really cool thing is if I give you a pint of that, I always tell people drink 3 inches of it and impart and take the notes of the flavors in. And then if you let it warm up 5 or 6 degrees and you do the rest of it, it completely changes flavors.
Ooh,
Because it'll go from the bitterness of the molasses to the sweetness of the honey based on the temperature.
Huh.
that's super cool.
And there's a lot of people like I try to help people with. There's a difference between serving temperature and consumption temperature.
Mm-hmm.
Because beers, depending on what style they are, open up and the flavors come through based on different temperatures.
Yeah.
Same thing with why there's different glassware. Different glassware imparts different results.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you get more on the nose.
Right,
Sometimes
yeah.
it opens up as it's pouring and the bubbles come up versus.
Yeah, when I was studying Cicerone and studying all the glasses and the nonics versus chalices and tulips and all that stuff and what beers go in what and why, it was very interesting. It's really cool to kind of study that.
Man, that's a good point. The I think it was Barrique in Nashville that they have a cask. I'm trying to think of what that
It's the
beer is
cask
called.
pump where they get. Yeah.
But it's a
piston pump. It's actually no CO2. It's literally a piston that from in the olden days when they would have wooden barrels in the basement.
Yeah.
They needed to create their own pressure because they didn't have CO2 tanks.
Oh, okay.
So they would literally pump this piston, and it was always horizontally mounted to the bar, and it would push air down into the barrel and push the liquid up the lines into the glass.
That explains why there wasn't. I didn't get that CO2 carbonation feeling when I was drinking the beer.
No, you won't. The only thing you're getting is a slight agitation. So you're probably going to have like just like maybe a quarter to an eighth of an inch of head, and that's just due to the agitation in the delivery.
Interesting. I think their pub ale is served out of that cask. I think it's like an English. Is it an English bitter, English mild, or something?
English, I
pub
think
ale?
it's
ESBs.
Yeah. And they
ESB
actually serve it colder for the American audience than they would overseas.
True, and we can discuss that till the cows come home. And
Yeah.
I am very much into traditional. I am not a trend follower. I do some beers that are very kind of trendy, but like I said earlier, my wheelhouse is definitely traditional. So when we were over in Ireland and we were over in Belgium, I kind of learned from masters that just do not give a duck fart about
No deviation from the
they
from it
don't-
whatsoever.
They do not care what is trending on social media. They do what they want to do. And my mentor was the same way. He's like, I don't care if somebody wants, a 300 IBU double IPA. I'm not doing it. I'm doing what I want to do. And he and I we had 40 taps. And we literally, I supported a 40 tap system with his barrel and a half rig.
That's impressive.
And we would brew 1 to 3 times a day, but we did all his traditional ones, and he was phenomenal. He was amazing.
And he's still up in. You said he's up in Maine.
No, unfortunately, he passed away.
Oh.
Yeah. So no, my protege Dakota Harbert, he's in Maine.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But my mentor was Greg Rapp. He's the one that gave me my first job when I was working as an investment banker, and he unfortunately passed away in March of 19.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That was at Rapp Brewing.
Rapp, RAPP.
RAPP Brewing.
Yeah,
Rapp
he
Brewing.
was like, he's the one who's responsible for why I'm here.
That was in Florida. I'm trying to remember the name. What city it was in Florida? Largo, Florida.
Yeah,
Okay.
Pinellas County.
Yeah, you were on another show back a few years ago, and we were listening to it last night. But and I think it took place there, didn't it? Was it at Rapp Brewing, or was it just you and Dakota that were there?
Well, Dakota and I have traveled together. He worked with me at Stillhouse and at Rapp.
And at Rapp, okay.
Yeah, so he and I worked together in both brew houses.
Nice.
So that was an interview that he and I did at Stillhouse.
At Stillhouse, got it. Okay, yeah.
Man, that is a unique beer.
Yeah, that's not a beer
super
style
lovely.
I've had before.
And that's what I'm saying. There's only, from my knowledge, and I could be wrong, there's only 3 breweries in the country that actually do that beer. I got to a place where I was kind of far enough ahead in my brewing rotation, and I was like, let's do something weird. Let's do something different. I've never done it. I've never done it before. It was kind of like going out there, did some research, designed it, and it worked out really well. I'm actually thinking about entering that in a few comps.
Man, I'm very curious where it'll go. That was very pleasant to drink.
And also my favorite name so far out of the ones we've drank, Three
Yes.
Hops and a Cot.
Yes.
You won't forget it.
No, I won't. I really won't. I didn't have to look at that one at all. We're changing pace a little bit, so we've kind of been sitting on the lighter brews, but now moving into a brown ale, which doesn't necessarily always mean it's a heavy sweet beer, but from a color standpoint, which what you were talking about when you were trying to build a few years ago, you were talking about making a black lager, and people were like, "Oh, I just don't like dark beers; they're too heavy." And it's like, well, let me show you something that's not always the case. So I don't know if that's what's going to be here, but I feel like at 5% for a brown ale, this is going to be relatively easy to drink.
Yeah, I'm not here to get you drunk. If you want to get drunk, go grab a handle of some whiskey and go home and sit on the couch.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm here for camaraderie, friendship, just talking about beer, enjoying yourself. I'm not here I would feel so terrible if something happened to one of my patrons and they got in trouble and got a DUI or something like that. So
Yeah.
I'm not here for that. I'm here to give you a place to hang out with your friends and enjoy great beer in a comfortable environment.
It's a cool place too. I like
Yeah.
the space. We talked about it a little bit at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
The old it's a gas station, but like turned into a brewery. Like we're sitting at a really nice table. It's very spacious. This is probably the biggest table we've sat at.
This is actually a UTC lab table.
Nice.
So right where underneath your laptop is a hole that I plugged where the Bunsen burner was. So there was college kids doing science experiments at this table at one point.
Heck
So
yeah.
it's super heavy. It's about as heavy as a Corolla.
Wow.
So I don't ever want to move it.
It's a heavy ass table.
Yeah, it's a super heavy table. But it's awesome.
So before we jump into this brown ale, one of the questions I was trying to figure out, and it could have been somewhere where I just overlooked, but Tanasi Brewing.
Yeah, Tanasi is
Tanasi Brewing. What's I want to talk about the logo real quick, and then the name and how that came into play. Because for whatever reason, I couldn't find anything on that, and I don't know if that was intentional or if I just overlooked it and was talking. So walk me through that.
And it's intentionally why I named it Tanasi. Tanasi is the Cherokee word meaning Tennessee. So it is officially where the state got its name. I did it to pay respect to the Cherokee Nation that was here before us and to where we live. I didn't want people to think I was the jagoff coming here from Florida trying to change things, whatever. I'm actually Chippewa Native American. So I just wanted to pay respect to the Cherokee tribes that were here before us. And unfortunately, too many people have forgotten all the history of Tennessee and the indigenous individuals that were here before us. Actually, right across the street is a Cherokee site over there by the restaurant across the street. So I did it because I wanted you guys to ask those exact questions, like, what the hell does Tanasi mean? So the logo came from it's on my tattoo, and to not get too philosophical or deep, but the Indian is supposed to represent me. The eagle is protecting me on my life journey. The sun rays behind it are to represent the new beginning of moving up here from Florida. And then the mountains at the bottom are meant to kind of just display the landscape of where we live.
Fantastic.
So I put a lot of thought into it, put hours into that logo design when I made it. But yeah, I love when people ask me, where the hell did Tanasi come from?
Well, my wife,
awesome.
when we were initially reaching out to Clinton, and when we were emailing that night, I guess probably close to a month ago, and we were talking about that. I said, the last time we must not have made it out this way, because you guys are definitely not 12 months or less. Like, you've been here for longer than that, but 2.5 years, but we had not been out this way. So I had not heard of Tanasi Brewing at the time, Mitch.
Yeah.
And when I was talking with Rachel about it, she goes, could it be pronounced like Tennessee or something like that? And we kind of joked about that because it's kind of like the southern dialect on the word Tennessee. But now to think about that, she's actually wasn't far off.
No, she's actually not too wrong, because of, if you think about it, back in the day, the illiteracy of certain individuals, like, there's multiple spellings of the same word just because of interpretations in different cultures and different ethnic backgrounds and stuff like that. They spelled it different. I've seen it T-E-N, T-A-N, T-E-N-N. I've seen it numerous different ways. And there's actually a reservation in Monroe County, which now unfortunately is underwater, and there is a plaque commemorating the spot, but it was a place where the tribe chiefs from the Carolinas and from Kentucky would meet and discuss policy. So they would all sit there, and so it was called the meeting place, Tanasi. So I wanted this to be the meeting place.
The meeting
for you
place.
guys. Yeah, I want you to meet your friends here and your girlfriend, your wife, or whatever after work, and come and hang out. I want you guys to meet and hang out here and discuss.
And I like the concept of being able to come. I mean, at these ABVs, considering there's tons of flavor in beers that aren't 8, 9, and 10%. One, that's impressive. But two, I can come here, have a couple of beers, and I don't have to feel bad about driving home because I'm not tanked when I leave.
Like
when
I said,
walk out the door.
I would feel absolutely horrible if I ever found out one of my patrons got a DUI or gotten a wreck or anything like that. So I feel like it's my responsibility not to protect people, but to be responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, my biggest goal is to expose you to flavors and ideas and thoughts that you may not have ever thought of or consumed, i.e. the cop booster.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't need to make that 9% to make it enjoyable.
No,
not at all. I know in my early 20s, I was definitely a high ABV seeker, but
And a lot of people are in their 20s. I was too. In my 20s, it was let's drink as little as possible to get as big a buzz as possible for the least amount of money.
yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. But as you evolve and when you get older, you start. It's like when you buy more expensive whiskeys, you buy better beers, you buy better grade food.
Yes.
You go away from the fast food places to the nice steakhouses and everything. So you kind of just evolve as a human, and you look for more quality, I guess, over quantity.
Definitely. And that's what I'm seeing here. I'm loving the variety you have.
Yes.
And being able to have that.
There's
3
one of
hops in a
everything
cup.
up there.
I've never had that before. That was truly a blessing to have such a rare kind of style beer here.
And I also, once again, going back to Greg, like he taught me how to do grain selection. Like you can buy of the same grain to make any of these beers. There's probably 3 different options and 3 different price points. I always choose the highest price point because it really does come across. It really does. Like you can buy the cheap one from XYZ Brewing Company or XYZ Maltier, and it's going to show. But if you spend the extra money on the better grains, I import a lot of mine from overseas in Belgium and Germany. I have a few American ones. I work with Riverbend, which is a local one here out of the Carolinas. I'm going to start buying some grains from them. But I always go, or I default, I guess that's the word I was looking for. I always default to the higher breed of grain because it really does show. I've done
sense.
I've done tests where you like literally, I'll just do this one to save me some money, and then it shows.
Man,
it doesn't have the robustness. It doesn't have the flavor delivery.
Yeah. Let's jump into the brown ale.
let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
What's the name of that one? I'm trying to.
Cheeky Wanka.
Okay, that's what I read, but I wasn't quite sure, so I wasn't about to mention that.
Yeah.
Okay, so once again, going back to I know I'm kind of preaching this, but I'm being a traditionalist. There is a Bible out there called a BJCP, a Beer Judge Certification Program. That organization dictates how every beer on earth should look, taste, and smell, and everything. If it is not in that Bible, we call it kind of like it's not official, but we call it a cheeky beer.
Nice.
So when you do, dandelion marshmallow fluff IPAs, those are cheeky beers.
Gotcha.
So the reason why this one is cheeky is because this is actually mixing a traditional Southern English brown with Dunkelweizen yeast.
Ooh.
So we use a Hefeweizen Wehestefan yeast on it to give it a banana clove note on a brown.
Whoa.
So it's kind of hybriding 2 beers together.
That comes through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that on the not the exact end, but right before the end of the finish, I pick up on that banana clove flavor. That's the same flavor that I expect that in like some of those can't remember which one it was that we had beforehand, but kind of a Belgian-y, yeasty style.
So Belgian beers typically impart a cracked black pepper note, just in general.
Okay.
Wehestefan is the oldest brewery in the world.
Wait, this is different.
Yeah, isn't it?
I was expecting like a sweeter finish on something like that.
Well, as the brewer, you get to decide how sweet or how dry you want every beer to be.
Yeah.
And we just we calculate our pitching rates for our yeast. We decide how long we want it to actually ferment, whether it's 14, 15, or 16 days, something like that. And it's just kind of a
super tasty.
right now I think I'm at 896 batches. So I've been doing this for a little while, and I've kind of perfected these beers and
Nice.
made some bad ones that weren't so great, and then you kind of just tweak them. It's kind of like when you make a lasagna and you're like, this time you put in basil, and then you realize you don't like basil, so next time you don't use basil.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. This is
So I think
fantastic.
You've dialed it in.
Yeah, I think it's just that's one of the great things is I had many years as a home brewer to make small batches and kind of get my shins kicked in. Because every time I would make a home brew, like I told you guys, I would literally take bottles of it to every brewery owner and head brewer in the whole city because I wanted their feedback. I wanted what they thought of it. I joined a homebrew club called the Pinellas Urban Brewers Guild because there was like 80 of us, and it was a great way to figure out what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. I entered homebrew competitions. That's where the medals are from over there.
Very nice.
Just because that's a great way to find out what you're doing, what you need to change. It makes your learning curve go from this to this.
Yep.
Yeah.
You find out real quick what you need to change and things like that.
Yeah, I even started a homebrew club up here just to try to do the same thing. So I was in Pinellas Urban Brewers Guild down in Florida. Now I'm in Chattanooga Urban Brewers Guild called the Chubbies.
Nice. Love the acronym.
Yeah.
That's great.
So yeah, we have a homebrew club that meets here, and it kind of slowed down, i.e. fell apart during COVID, but I really want to rejuvenate it. I really want to get members re-interested in it and come back and do meetings here. We would do like slideshows, educational topics on, water treatment, hop selection, stuff like that. I really want to elevate and help, because I remember when I was first starting and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I really wish I had somebody I could ask. And I want to be that for somebody. There's no other brewery that I know of that you can, in Chattanooga, that you can walk into and talk to the guy that actually makes the beer.
Right. Yeah.
And we have some phenomenal breweries here in town, but most of the time after 6 o'clock, the brewers are home.
Yep.
Kind of thing.
They're, 9 to 5, as it were.
Right. Yeah. Like my buddy that works at Naked River, he works from 2 a.m. till 2 p.m.
Woo.
So he's gone. He's a phenomenal Nate Woods. He's a phenomenal resource and very smart man, but you aren't going to talk to him when you go in there at 6:30 at night on a Friday.
No way.
He's home with his wife and kids.
Good on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good on him.
But yeah, he's a super nice guy. But there's not many places you can go and actually talk to the guy that brewed the beer. You're talking to somebody that's just serving the beer.
Right.
There might be great employees and love the business, but they just don't know. You start asking questions like, I'm not really sure,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now that's amazing to have a presentation slide or just educational elements within the share. And
yeah, we do PowerPoint up on the big screen right
awesome.
there.
I'm trying to play musical chairs with these flights here. Jumping in. I don't want to spill anything at the same time. I need to move it around. So we've got the next one.
So we've gone one through
we're jumping into the dry Irish stout now, I think,
so,
right?
So this one was developed when my girlfriend and I went over to Ireland. She's Irish, so we wanted to go back to her homeland, essentially. And while we were there, we one night we were at a brewery called, I don't want to say the name of it. It was in Southern Ireland. And the brewer that I was talking to, he's like, hey, come on in, hang out with us. And he happened to be doing an Irish stout that night. And he was very kind, and he opened his recipe book and he showed me his recipe for the beer. And I was like, oh, really? Click. Mental picture.
Yeah.
Yes.
I went to the bathroom, wrote down everything I could, and I came home and immediately changed my recipe to match his.
Nice.
So he showed me his recipe for the dry Irish stout and for the Irish red.
So
Heck
this was the we'll be getting into the Irish red here in just a couple of pours.
Yep.
But this is the dry Irish stout.
Yep. So we named it One More Stout for the Cliffs of Moher.
Moher.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like
Actually,
that.
I was accidentally named by one of my patrons because he came up and he was like, "Hey man, can I have one more stout?" Oh, son of a bitch, that sounds really cool.
That's
name.
awesome.
That's
Yeah.
great- So it was a happy accident. But yeah, it was named after the Cliffs of Moher.
Okay.
So it definitely is. It is what it sounds. It has a dry finish.
It does.
Yep.
Yeah, dry.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's tasty. Chocolatey? Little,
Yeah.
just a
Little
little
roast-
bit,
roasted-
little
roasted
roasty.
roasted barley.
Roasty is what I
Yes.
get. Okay, never mind. I'm still trying to pick up that flavor profile.
Yeah, roasted barley and chocolate malt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
It's tasty. I enjoy it, and that's 5,
Mm-hmm.
4.5. Really easy. you need to jump up, you can real quick if you need to go
Totally,
that way.
totally.
Yeah,
wanna
you're
take,
good.
You want to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a rinse break
Okay.
real quick.
All right, we'll be right back.
All right, we're back. Took a rinse break, kind of rehydrated, bathroom trip, and all that. Got our business in order. So, this one's on me, but we were talking about that dry Irish stout,
You just downed it.
and I just downed it real quick. I didn't mean to, but it's so easy. Like, for me, Irish stout, my stouts, I prefer like bourbon barrel aged imperial, Russian imperial stout, like the heavy hitters. And those are typically sweeter and not dry.
Right.
So dry stouts for me, Irish stouts, I typically tend to stay away. But this one was really good because it wasn't what I was expecting on a normal dry stout. It wasn't overly sweet, but it had a unique flavor at the end. But when we went on pause, I just grabbed a beer and I just drank. I just tossed it back and I went, damn, that was really good. And I go, oh shit, I just finished up that stout. I didn't mean to.
And those BA Imperial Stouts are great. But Imperial BA,
If you want one beer.
right, and I call them night enders. But they're fireplace, sit on the couch. They're not hanging out with your mates, like drinking beer. There's definitely a place in the market for the BA. You can get crazy with Cabernet barrels and wine barrels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can make some phenomenal tasting ones or phenomenal tasting beers.
May not be this time in this space though.
Yeah.
If I'm out and the weather's nice outside, I'm in a short sleeve shirt. And the last thing I want to really do is down a barrel aged imperial stout.
And my girlfriend's the same way, which I've never understood. She will not consume a stout unless it's below 50 degrees outside. I'm like, honey, what does it matter? It's 72 in the brewery, and the cooler is always 38 degrees.
Yeah.
So what does it matter if it's June or January? What does it matter? If you want a stout, drink a stout.
Right.
But I do that too. Like I actually transition my beers. My Hefeweizen I use in the spring, summer. Then I do Dunkelweizen in the fall, winter. And stuff like that. And you most likely will not come in here in July and find a stout on the board. I'm going to switch. I got so many to pull from. I have to give everybody kind of their turn.
Their turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And this next one is going to be very interesting.
Yes.
So today is National Lager Day, right? At least at the time of the recording we are. So we're sitting here with a kimchi lager.
So, man, I remember getting burned on kimchi in my early 20s because a friend of mine was dating his girlfriend who worked at a Japanese restaurant that it was just all Korean family owned.
Yep.
And once we came in and said we liked kimchi, they did not stop bringing it to the table. Very hospitable, and we needed to eat every bit.
Kimchi's awesome, but it is definitely an acquired taste.
Yes.
Like I was telling you guys earlier, I lived in Korea for a year when I was in the Army. I learned how to make it traditional with the clay pots underground and everything like that. And I just developed a taste for it. There is a phenomenal Korean restaurant here in town called Han Mi that I get the kimchi from. He gives me all of his gochujang juice.
Very nice.
And I put that straight in the beer.
Oh,
so it's not spicy, painful, or anything like that. It literally, but I want you to taste cabbage, and I want you to taste the gochujang.
Yes.
And that's what we're getting. That's what we're getting here.
Right off the nose, even.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a strong nose. It's definitely, I want to taste it. It's very.
Yeah. I want you to get literally the gochujang on the tip of your tongue, and then I want once it exits your mouth, I want you to get cabbage.
Ooh, yeah.
We'll try it out,
Let's
Mitch.
dig in.
Do it. I get cabbage. Yeah.
Yep.
On the end, like right on the finish.
Right in your jowl.
Yep.
It's not overly pungent. It's inviting, and it's still refreshing at the same time.
And a lot of people have,
It stays with me too.
Yeah.
Like it's still there.
but a lot of people, how do I say it? Like they've been tainted. They think kimchi is just nasty hot or whatever. And kimchi is not really hot, spicy. It's not jalapeno Carolina Reaper hot.
Right.
It is literally fermented vegetables with gochujang powder on top of them.
So is this supposed to have a kick to it, and I'm just missing it?
No, it's like a 1.
Okay, yeah, I don't.
It's like a 1 on a 10 scale.
Yeah, when we were talking before the show started about spice levels and things like that, I was expecting there to be some heat to this, but
No,
nothing.
I don't want heat.
Okay,
I don't want you to feel heat. I want you to really taste the chili pepper.
Yeah.
the chili powder, and I'll show you guys what I use when we get off air here. But then I really want you to just taste the vegetables.
Yeah, I get that in spades.
I want you to literally just taste cabbage all day long.
That's awesome. That
I don't know.
That blows me away.
Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting on this, but it wasn't. I don't know. I know nothing about kimchi, so I had no idea what this was. Honestly, to be fair, when you poured this, I thought that this was because the hazy IPA is the last one on this flight. I thought maybe you had switched it because this thing was so cloudy. Yeah, and I thought that maybe that one was supposed to be the kimchi lager, but no, this was the kimchi lager. So I didn't know what to expect tasting it.
And it's tasty. It's gonna clear up a little bit. I didn't want it to be what they call star bright. I don't want it to be see through.
That's what you have in your glass right now.
Yeah,
that's the kimchi lager.
That's what I'm drinking.
Okay,
that's what I'm having right now too. But I didn't want it to come out as star bright like a traditional American light lager. You know, I wanted it to still be a little bit cloudy. But we literally just tapped this last night about 10 o'clock.
I'm a fan of that one. That one was really good.
That was way more crushable than I expected it to be.
Yeah, because I fell in love with it when I was overseas and wanted to keep it going. Like I said, the guy over at Han Mi is really, really good. He gives me his kimchi when he's done.
There's no ABV on the board for that
sorry,
one. What's that sitting at?
4.6, I believe.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Another one.
Yeah. So it's a light, easy drinker too.
Nice.
I enjoyed that. That was very different. Again, I know nothing about kimchi, so I had no idea what kimchi was supposed to be.
I think the closest thing to kimchi you've gotten was a crawfish antenna last time that we ate at a.
Oh, Roussan's?
Yeah.
I remember that now. Okay.
And like I said,
that was a weird night.
This is to invoke conversation.
Yeah.
I want to do this. I want to do beers that you've never had before, you've never heard of before, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, mission accomplished.
Yeah,
definitely.
So I literally want to make sure you have. Holy crap! I've never had a kimchi beer.
I had a kimchi beer today.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what better
good.
day?
Yeah, than a kimchi lager on National Lager Day.
Heck yeah,
that's awesome.
I also got a Doppelbock that I need to debut. I have a black lager I'm going to debut here pretty soon. We kind of going back. You talked about 20 minutes ago when there's a perception that I have people coming here all the time and say, I don't like dark beers. Well, that's not really true. First of all, like, dark does not mean flavor, is not hinged on the flavor.
Right.
So what I would do at my last brewery, we had a black IPA, we had a black lager, and we had a stout, all black. Black as night. I put all three of them on there. I'm like, okay, now tell me which one you like. Completely different animals.
Yeah.
Like literally not even close to each other, but they're all the same color. So I did that to kind of just knock the brakes off of their thought process of, I don't like dark beers.
Right.
You know, same thing when people say, I don't like IPAs. Well, that's not really true. You may not just like that person's IPA. There's so many genomes of IPA or hops in the world. Like me, I'm not a fan of Simcoe hops. There's a lot of people that love Simcoe. I think it tastes like kitty litter box. So none of my beers have Simcoe in them. I do like the traditional Citra, Cascade, blah, blah. My favorite hop on earth is Warrior for Wicked Bitter.
Yep.
And I love Huell Melon.
Huell Melon.
Yeah, that's in the hazy that we'll get to in a minute.
Yes.
So excited.
It imparts a strawberry and cantaloupe note. Whereas most hazies impart like a kind of a mixture between a West Coast IPA and then they make it just hazy yellow.
Yeah.
So I kind of just do it to F with you a little bit.
Hell yeah.
Well, I feel like you're going to accomplish that mission too.
I'm working on it.
So we're jumping into we're kind of coming up on the tail end of the beers. We've got the last four here. The Irish Red, Night in Cork.
Yep.
What's that name about?
So that was once again when I got to study with that brewer in Cork, Ireland. It was at night. My girlfriend and I were there having beers, and
this is the one you were the other beer you were able to see the recipe from.
Yep.
Okay.
So he showed me the recipe for this one and his dry Irish stout.
Heck yeah.
And so since it was nighttime in Cork, Ireland, it was Night in Cork.
Night in Cork.
Yep.
Good name.
Yep.
5.1%, 20
Super
IBUs.
Catchy. Yep.
Yeah.
Easy to drink, I imagine it's going to be. Irish Reds. I get a lot of shit for this, but the very first Irish Red that I ever had was Killian's. And I don't know if that, because I feel like I've had a lot of Irish Reds since then, and none of them taste close to that.
Usually it's Killian's or Smittix.
I've had Smittix as
Smittix,
well.
yeah.
I've had
Don't
Smittix
ever
as well.
say Smithwick's.
People
I
say
did at the
Smithwick's?
beginning.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, do they?
Oh yeah. And
Oh.
if you say in the wrong neighborhood, you'll get smacked.
Oh, okay. Glad I've never said it that way before.
You got to say Smittix, like SMID.
Smittix.
Yep.
Okay, this is good. I like this.
Uh-huh.
This is super.
Oh yeah.
So what made him open up to is I came into it, I was like,
Yeah.
I've been doing Irish Reds for a while, but I can't get the blood red that I want.
Huh.
He's like, oh, you need to do this. And he went and opened his book and he showed me that actually the trick to making the blood red is by we add a black grain
Whoa.
to it, like a black patent malt. You wouldn't think so,
No.
but you add a black malt to your amber grains to make it a blood red.
Hmm.
Very
So
interesting.
yeah, he was like, yeah, do this. And he showed me, I was like, holy crap, that's awesome.
Mm,
So I went home and immediately changed my recipe to match his.
Mhm.
nice.
And
Yeah,
how far off were you compared
I was-
to like
I was
looking at
about-
recipes?
I was about 4 SRM off.
Yeah.
Mm,
So we measured in standard referent module or standard referent mode.
Yeah.
It's a 0 to 40 scale, 0 water, 40 black as night.
Mm-hmm.
But I was probably 4 SRM
Not
off.
bad.
No, but in my world it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was more of an amber. It was more of a California sunset than a blood red.
Gotcha.
Okay.
The ultimate goal is to literally make a blood red,
Mm,
like a deep dark red.
That was tasty.
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
Gosh, that's
malty, just enough hops to carry it, but I want you to taste all those grains I put into all those English grains and all those Irish grains.
I enjoy that. You want to jump off?
It's up to you guys.
Yeah, go for it.
That's fine.
Okay.
We can just keep going and
Okay,
talking
cool.
while you're doing it. Yeah,
Give me
absolutely.
2 seconds.
So let's just cover the tap room real quick. 'Cause
Yeah,
we
sure.
haven't talked about, we talked about the outside, but
Mhm.
we haven't been able to really talk about how clean and unique some of the tabletops are here.
Sure.
Did you get a chance to look at the bar?
I did. I took a brief look at it. But I see our homies, the bearded iris.
Yes.
I see an attention please.
So he knows how to get the labels off cans.
Apparently, yeah.
and, it's a beautiful piece with I'm assuming it's acrylic on top to give it that even countertop kind of clarity over top all the art that he's collected there. Blossom and Cellar Door similarly.
Yep.
They have all that stuff, and even Big Trouble.
Big Trouble has it as well.
Yeah. I love those tabletops. Gives you something to look at. And I see a lot of the Nashville homies, brewery-wise, in these labels.
There's another bearded iris as well. I think that's a mood ring. I think I see.
Yes.
I see. It's glaring, so it's hard to. Of course, bearded iris can labels are, at least the older ones, are
Yeah.
very noticeable because they all look the same.
Yep.
Mad props to them for changing some of their regulars because like Everclever looks dope. The Homestyle rebrands look awesome.
Yeah.
The can art, but their original labels were always like the bearded Irish flower at the top with
Yep.
like the name underneath. It was very noticeable. They all looked the same. So you can spot those a mile away.
Yeah, it was a slap with a different background.
Yeah.
And just,
Yeah.
They kept it turnkey, which kept things, quick and easy for them. But it all looked good.
Yes, and I enjoy going back to this place. So we've got some of the homies from close by here. We've got Asheville representing up on the board. Of course, Delaware got Dogfish Head, but everything seems to be close nearby. So Jackalope in Nashville, Trim Tab out of Alabama,
Oh, nice.
Sweetwater in Georgia. So a lot of these are relatively close. Black Abbey representing.
Yeah. Yep.
Shout out to Carl.
Yazoo.
And Black Abbey, Yazoo. Where
Yeah.
do you see Yazoo
No,
up there?
no,
Oh,
not
okay.
I get their Hefeweizen sometimes.
Gotcha.
It's the similar colors, but that's a Bell's Oberon. That's what it
Yes.
is.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Green Man out of Asheville. Wiseacre. Shout out. With Michelle, who's now repping with Creature Comforts.
That's right.
So we'll be talking to her soon. But we
Congrats,
had her,
Michelle, on
yeah,
the move.
Shout
That's
out
awesome.
to Michelle. We had a blast with her when we were talking.
Yeah.
So a lot of local Southeast, Tennessee and surrounding states representing over here. But then they've got the homebrew section in the back where they got the homebrew supplies. It's a cool space because the main area here is the bar with, like you said, the countertops that are super dope,
Yeah.
and then chairs going all around it, and then a cooler with some of the local stuff nearby, and then a big ass table that we're sitting on that we talked about earlier.
Yes. It was perfect for all the equipment.
Yeah, it's a cool space overall. It feels very homely in here, but it seems
Yeah.
like there's room for expansion.
I really enjoy the homebrew section over there. We'll take a look at it before we leave. That was something at Craft Brewed that I really was sad to see go.
We don't get that. We don't have that in Craft Brewed anymore.
And I really don't want to be. I've worked in large breweries, and we measure everything on barrels. I've worked in up to 30-barrel brew houses, and I don't really want to that's just sometimes you just turn into a production brewery. You're pushing buttons. I like the fact that I'm putting a mash paddle in grain every day.
Yeah.
Every time I'm actually stirring it. So I love that smell and the feel and the work that goes with it. So I want to stay kind of this size.
Yeah.
I like this. Like some people come in and go, "What if I gave you $1 million?" I'd probably be the same.
Yeah.
I'd probably get some little more expensive equipment.
Yeah. And you'll come into work with a nicer car, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Like I do want to get some fermenters, like some larger stainless steel fermenters, but they're kind of wicked expensive. So I'm kind of saving up my pennies right now for those.
Yep.
But I want to put like 2 or 3 very large stainless steel fermenters here in the tap room.
That'd be fun to look at
awesome.
too.
Yeah.
That'd be good ambiance as well.
Yeah.
I like sitting in the middle of all that.
Yes.
That's fun.
Yes.
Yeah, because right now I'm doing it's a 2-barrel rig, but I'm doing 1-barrel batches. And if I could do like 2 or 4-barrel batches, then I could literally focus on a lot more small, because it would get my staples.
Yep.
I could do my staples pretty much for the next 3 months, and then I could focus on some of the smaller
Small
ones
batches.
like DMZ Dragon.
Yep.
And those weird obscures off one-offs.
God, I love obscures.
Yeah.
It expands my reality on craft beer, and that's why I love talking to people that are in it every day.
I mean, Staples pay the bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my Sun Circle Pale Ale, I tell people all the time, it's not on the board right now. Nothing crazy. No fruits or vegetables, or no lawnmower hops or whatever, but it's just a damn good everyday drinker.
Yeah.
It's literally a phenomenal Saturday afternoon drinker.
Yeah. Pays the bills.
It pays the bills. Yeah.
I like that.
Very nice.
The hazy IPA, the watermelon crawl. Those are the ones that pay the bills. But I really like expanding my horizons and doing stuff like the Cop Boosters and the DMZ Dragons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be something that deviates a little bit from what I'm used to. This habanero saison.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous. I love habanero.
Oh yeah, the flavor.
I do. Habanero for me is good, a little smoky. But I don't. Was it habanero that's smoky? Chipotle. Okay, never mind. Habanero is not smoky.
I call habanero smoldering.
Smoldering.
Yeah.
Okay. I habanero and beer. I don't know how this is going to go for me. What's my level of comfort on it? Really? Right on the nose?
Oh, yeah. It's
Okay.
always a pleasant
Keep in mind, I'm a spice wuss.
Okay.
I don't do anything over sriracha or Tabasco
Okay.
in my personal life. So what I wanted is present, not painful.
Okay.
So Pavo Epicen, I'm probably butchering the hell out of that. It just means spicy pepper.
Okay.
Man.
So I really want you to taste a pepper, but I don't want you to be begging for a glass of milk when you're done.
Right.
I want you to walk to the door, and by the time you get to your car, it's not still there with you.
It's there.
Oh,
It's
man.
there, and it
dig
went
it.
up into my nose a little bit. Like
Just a little, though.
I can feel it. Not painful
Yeah.
whatsoever.
What I tell people, like when you see a jalapeno beer,
Uh-huh.
it's usually a bitch slap.
Yes.
Smack the shit out of you with an 8,
Uh-huh.
and then they go away fast.
Yeah. This thing,
A habanero
it kind of,
smolders.
it stays with me. It's hovering.
Yep,
like
it's hovering.
part of
little
me,
wavelength.
part of me
Yep,
wants to
yep.
take another sip to kind of cool it down a little bit, but I'm going to be in the same fucking boat that I'm in right now. So
Exactly.
You're just paddling the water.
yeah, exactly. No, this is good. I didn't know what to
This is
expect.
awesome. I would love to have this side by side with the
The High
habanero saison from
High
Sabbath.
Cot. Oh, from Sabbath.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. In Atlanta.
Well, was that? Hold on, I may be wrong. Actually,
Or was it the High Cotton Saison in Memphis?
Well, that one was just like loads of black pepper.
Black pepper.
And
Okay.
I loved it, but
All
I've
right.
never seen another one just that heavy on it.
That black
But-
pepper comes from that yeast.
Oh,
Yeah.
They did something where it was amplified like Spinal Tap to 11,
Oh,
but
wow.
it also wasn't done yet. So I got to
Okay.
taste it before it was ready.
You got it from the fermenter,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, fresh
So
from the tap.
There might be one of those. There's something I'm probably missing in the process that made it the way it was at that time when I tasted it. But no, I am a little mistaken on the Sabbath one. It was Kelly's Death Pickles,
Oh, that's
and it was
right.
the
Wow.
juice from that.
That's a name
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
there. That is a name.
It's a local guy with his hot fucking pickles. And I didn't dare eat one of those while there, but the brewer at Sabbath decided to take that and use it for a pickle beer. I'm not a pickle beer guy, but man, that was a pickle beer I could appreciate. It was a Saison pickle beer with all that heat, but it was like mostly red chilies, habanero, some jalapeno. It was a mixture of things, but he had to do, if I remember right, the brewer
right over there.
There was like
I'm listening to this story.
It was 3 to 5 different batches or something before he found the right level of heat.
Right.
And it's much like this, where you've got the ride with the habanero that's it's kind of like a wavelength that lingers, but it's not like hurting you in any way. It's fantastic. So I would love to have both of those side by side because one has that pickle definition, the other. This is just, I could drink it.
Yeah.
I could drink it.
So my regulars are starting to show up now.
Nice.
Okay.
Welcome. Hello.
That's good. What's up, guys?
My friends Mark and Peggy.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Peggy.
They drive like an hour to come see me every Saturday.
Oh, that's awesome.
What I was going to say, though, you said it was about pickles. Like, I'm the kind of guy I can go to my fridge and take a swig of a pickle jar.
Yeah.
So I did a pickle goza myself about a month or so ago. And then I just got in the Urban Artifact pickle goza, which it's a seasonal beer. It's only available in December.
Oh, wow.
And it sells like crazy.
I haven't had a pickle goza.
Yeah, it is literally a love or hate. There is no middle ground.
Yeah.
No one has ever drank and go, it's aight.
I would hate it, just for the record. I'm going to be that guy.
No, I would. It might change your world.
Okay.
I might send you home with one and see what you think. But
I hate when this happens.
You got to try
every time.
it. You gotta
Every
try
time
it.
I go, nope, it's not going to be like, all right, watch this. I'll change your mind. And that's how I used to hate sours. I mean, I'm still not a huge fan of sours, but getting into some of those kettle sours and gozas and starting small and then working my way up. So I still can't do funk beers, but like tart for me, I'm okay.
So you're not into like the Kveik's and the.
I'm trying to get
You're
them into
not
it.
going to succeed. Yeah. You will not succeed.
Think even farther back. Think about the first time you stole your buddy's dad's beer out of the garage fridge and you guys snuck behind the barn and took a swig and you're like, how in the hell do people drink
It was
this?
an acquired taste.
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
Beer sucked when you were 14.
Oh,
years
yeah,
old.
big time.
And now look at us. You know,
Yes.
so it is an evolution. So once again, I guess I'm harping on it, but I want to expose people to things that they have never done before.
Yes.
Things they've never drank before and go, holy shit, that actually works.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the first guy that made a pickle beer probably got laughed out of the house.
Probably.
And now it's huge. I mean, I'm going to sell out of that case in a week. You know, it's going to go that fast. When I had a keg, I had a keg of 5 gallons. I went through it in 20 some hours.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, it was that fast.
Are there any like Clamato beers?
There is actually.
That's crazy to me.
There's actually. I've seen some Clamatos.
Clamatos.
Not really my thing.
Yeah, not mine either.
But I have seen those in the market where people actually use oysters and clams, and then they do tomato juice. I think it sounds horrific, but that's just me.
Terrible.
I know Yazoo just did I think it was last week. They did more. I think it was an oyster or clam brine saison of sorts.
Like, same thing with oyster stouts.
Yeah.
Some people live and die for oyster stouts.
Yeah.
You know.
Super savory.
Yeah.
I need to jump into the next one because
Let's do it.
this thing is like staying with me and it's like closing up and I need to drink something real quick.
Well, good for you. The next one is just a good middle of the road Saturday beer.
I do want to point out though that was really good. Like I wasn't expecting. I don't know what kind of heat I was expecting, but it was a very tolerable heat. It wasn't something where I had to go like drink something else and finish it up. But because it just stays with me. It kind of, like you said, it rode kind of up and down. The heat just kind of, the slow heat just stays with you. So it was really, really good.
And brother, like I've told people all the time, I don't get offended. If you don't like one of my beers, I'm not going to be like, well, then you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm not that kind of guy.
That's why you have 10 styles up there.
No, it's just a maturity thing. That if you really believe that your beer 100% of the humans that come in here are going to like, you're fooling yourself.
Yeah, right. You've got bad expectations.
You got bad expectations. So that's why I do so many, is because I know not everybody's going to love the habanero. Not everybody's going to love the freaking DMZ.
But I will say I have not had that experience here today yet. Every single one of these beers have been really good, so I enjoy them.
Thankfully, our palate's been weathered enough to understand to a point certain styles, but we're still,
Indiana, see if I got that right. Indiana people, American amber.
Indigenous people.
Where the fuck did I get that wrong?
I don't know.
Indigenous Indiana people.
English is hard.
I
English
see
is
indigenous.
very hard
Yeah.
apparently right now.
English is very hard.
I'm American. It can be whatever I want it to be. That's all good.
So we did it. Indigenous People Day is because around here we do not celebrate Columbus Day. We do not acknowledge him. He was not a savior. He was not a hero. Whatever people think.
Yeah.
Right.
So we celebrate Indigenous People Day.
Indigenous people.
Good.
Yeah, which is right after Thanksgiving.
Gotcha.
So the Indigenous People Amber is to celebrate once again the humans that were here before he landed on here on a beer run.
Gotcha.
And a lot of people don't realize that he literally landed on Plymouth Rock because he ran out of beer.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. They kind of forget that or don't know that.
Huh.
So yeah, we I designed that beer to kind of celebrate that.
Indigenous People Day,
Yeah.
the day after Thanksgiving. Gotcha. Okay. So this is, I mean, it's another going to be easy to drink. American
Easy
Amber,
drinker, yep.
20 IBUs, 5.7. That's actually higher than I was expecting it to be for an amber, for an American like amber beer. Pushing 6% is a little bit higher than I was expecting.
Has a caramel nose to it.
It has a great caramel nose.
Oh, this
Wow.
follows up perfectly with that.
Yeah,
with
so
that
it's gonna-
say-
it's gonna-
that was it.
It's
That
gonna
was it
it's
right
gonna
there,
squelch
yeah.
your it's gonna squelch your number 8.
Yeah, is that what you're drinking? Oh, that's what you're drinking. That it's tasty. Yeah, this one's really good. Ooh,
Yeah, it has great caramel and toffee
Yeah.
notes.
Oh, that's
And
wonderful.
like I said, nothing crazy. It's just a great Saturday afternoon drinker. No fruits and vegetables. Just a damn good beer.
yeah,
It's fantastic.
I enjoy
Oh
it. It's
my
very
God.
good. Fact.
Plenty more where that came
Down
from.
the hatch on that.
That's
one.
fantastic.
Yeah, that one was really good. Mitch, we're at this last one here, man.
Yeah, let's do it.
This is the
hazy.
this is the hazy ride.
Yeah, hazy IPA.
Hazy
Hazy
IPA.
Ridge. You are really bad at this.
I think it's his glasses.
Oh, hazy. No, it's not.
You
My
said
glasses.
hazy ride.
Thank
I'm
you
like-
for standing up for me. I appreciate it. But my glasses are relatively new. It is totally just the
Then that's
lack of
just a
sleep
damn
and the
shame.
9 flights we've had prior to
It is
this.
time to go back to the optometrist.
Yeah, somebody did not do their job right, I guess.
Well, in your defense, I have a very weird handwriting style.
You do have a weird
Yeah,
handwriting
I
style,
do.
but that's on me. That's
I-
not on you. For
when I was
for
a kid, I
misstaking.
was a tagger.
Oh,
I did graffiti tagging when I was a kid, so I developed that style.
It does have kind of that feel to it.
I read and write Greek fluently. I read and write Korean fluently, and I do tagging.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I have a very unique handwriting style. So Hazy Ridge actually started from. I have one of the greatest offices I could ever think of,
Mm-hmm.
and I was standing behind the bar one time, and I looked out over here, and there's Signal Mountain that you can see out my front window. And when it rains here, when it gets kind of like bad stormy, the whole top of the mountain is just covered in haze.
That's awesome.
That's
so we literally,
fantastic.
my girlfriend and I were trying to figure out what we gonna call this beer. We looked out the window, and it was a Hazy Ridge. Because for those that don't know, it is no longer allowed to be called New England IPA as of April 1st, 2022.
Really?
I guess it was people all around the up and down the eastern seaboard got kind of jealous that New England was getting all the credit for those in the Carolinas and stuff. So now it's just called Hazy IPA.
Hazy IPA.
Hazy
Yeah.
IPA.
So you have American, you have West Coast, and you have Hazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Once again, going back to BJCP, they're the gods that decide that.
They're the rule
They're
makers.
the rule makers. They decide all that.
Okay.
So they changed the name in April to Hazy IPA.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is, and
So-
mine is a little different than what you're gonna, what you might be used to, because most hazies impart a pine needle, orange peel,
Yeah.
grapefruit note.
Oh, yeah.
I use Huel Melon, which is a one of my favorite grain or hops that imparts a strawberry and cantaloupe note.
Okay.
So it's gonna have a sweet front, and then that cantaloupe's gonna hit you in the jowl.
That's exactly what I get on this. It's semi-sweet up front, and then a little bit right on the finish, right on the
man.
end.
Yeah.
Man, I like this beer. This one, it wasn't as
Smooth, too.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's a lot of when you're thinking hazy IPA, at least for like Nashville and Tennessee, like we have a tendency to go overboard with juiciness and things like that, and make it like Bearded Iris, probably the biggest brewery in Nashville outside of like Yazoo. But like not biggest, but like they churn out the most new IPAs and things like that. And they are very, very big on making it super hazy, super juicy, and things like that. So because of that, because we drink a lot of it, hazy IPAs for me typically have that nomenclature, but having a hazy IPA that's just not overly juicy and not overly bitter at the same time, this is a welcome change for a hazy IPA, because this is...
Same thing with my guys over at Southern Grist. I love those guys. They do some really amazing off the wall stuff.
This one was tasty.
And that's why I love them, and I love the Fat Bottom. Like I said, Fat Bottom is more traditional, but I really like them and Southern Grist. Those are my two favorite Nashvilles.
We've been through a lot today, Mitch.
Yeah.
It's been a great trip.
Man, thank you for sharing your...
Of course. You guys are welcome to hang out anytime you're in town. We love having people come in and visit us.
10 different beers.
Probably after we disconnect here, where I'm going to do some more from the cooler from you.
Definitely.
Get some out of the private stock and kind of expand you a little bit more.
Cool.
And hopefully the people that listen to this get intrigued and come out and have some beers with me.
Definitely. And we'll be putting this out on our social as well. Mitch, any closing thoughts, man?
Yeah.
Amazing beers, man. I always appreciate the lower ABV, so I can just expand the palate further. And just having you be able to tell me exactly the passion that you put into each one amplifies it so much more for me.
Yeah, because like I said, this is definitely not a job for me. You could not run a brewery if you look at it as a job, because I'm here, I get like maybe 2 days off a month kind of thing. I'm doing 68 hours. You have to just love what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I do. I love it. I've never once driven to work on a Monday going, crap, I got to go to freaking work.
You get to go to work on Monday.
Yeah. I get to hang out with my friends. I listen to music and I make beer. My life sucks.
Who's better than you?
My life sucks.
That's awesome.
The only thing that'd be worse is if Hawaiian Tropic had their headquarters behind me.
That's right. That's the only worst thing, right? Yeah.
That'd be about it.
Well, Clinton, man, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Clinton Sallee with Tanasi Brewing in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Thanks a lot for hanging out with us, brother. We appreciate it.
Great hanging out with you guys.
Thank you for your time
so much.
This was awesome. And Mitch, it was a good time, man. We'll see everybody on the next episode.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Love you guys. Cheers.